Hello everybody and welcome to the monthly video where I take a look at what's new and notable in releases for light novels in English for this month being June of 2019. If you've followed the channel for some time, you'll know that typically I go through every single light novel that is releasing during the month. I'm gonna have to start changing that up because this month, the month of June, we have over 30 light novels volumes being released. It's just getting to the point now where it's too much. I mean, it's the last video that I did, and that was April, and that wasn't even that crazy a huge release month. That video was almost an hour long, and well guys, I would just rather be able to record a bunch of different videos than spend so much time on just one single video. So I'm going to change things up a little bit. So every month I'm just going to take a look at what is brand new. So like brand new series, or maybe it's brand new to print or to digital, or something that's notable. Like for instance, one of the ones I'll be talking about this month is ReZero volume number 10 is coming out, which finally takes us beyond the content that was covered by the anime. So that kind of stuff. I'm hoping that you guys will still like this format. I do have the entire list of every single book that is being released in June, separated by date, plus with links that you can pick up the books at either Amazon or the book depository. I've got those in the description down below so you can check it out. I also will have that posted on my website, justusrstone.com, if you want to check any of that out as well. So first up, on June 4th, and I know I'm a little bit late on this one, that's another reason I'm thinking to try and make these videos a little shorter so it's a lot faster to actually get these things out in time. Anyway, on June 4th, we had Division Maneuver Volume number 1 released in print. Now, this one, of course, was released earlier by Seven Seas in digital only. It's a 2-volume light novel series. In fact, Seven Seas has already released the second and final volume digitally. That'll be coming out in print eventually. The fantastical 2-volume light novel series that blends combat and reincarnation drama. When the monstrous Jave attacked, mankind's strongest warrior died defending humanity and was reincarnated as a baby. Now, 13 years later, the Jave have returned, enrolling in an academy that trains people to use the magic-powered battlesuits known as Division Maneuver. Okigawa Kuon can only operate Division 1, the weakest, until opportunity to pilot a special one-of-a-kind suit appears, one that can be activated even with rock-bottom levels of magical power. So like I said, there's only 2 volumes in this. You can actually read them all right now digitally. This is the print release of this series. When it first came out, I was kind of like, gee, based on the covers, looks a little bit fan servicey to me. Apparently that is obviously a component, but supposedly it has a bit more to offer story-wise. And I got that from not only the translator, but I believe Sean Gaffney also did a review on this one. And his review of it really wasn't as cringy as what I thought it would be. So I'll probably be picking this one up. I'm trying to pick up a lot of volume 1s, so I at least have a good sort of broad perspective on the light novel series that are available in English. But I might even just pick up volume 2 for this one too, since it's only a 2-book series, and just be done with it. And also a shout out to the translator. When I first did this in digital, I said that it was Yahweh I was pronouncing it, and he's like, no, Justus, you got it wrong. It's like Dave, but with a J. So I did correct that. So thanks for pointing it out, and I hope I got it right and we're all good that time. On June 9th, now this one's notable for actually a couple of different reasons. This one's going to be coming out from J-Novel Club, and that is volume number 1 of Crust of the Stars. In the far distant future, mankind has traversed the stars and settled distant worlds. But no matter how advanced the technology of the future becomes, it seems the spacefaring nations cannot entirely shed their human nature. Jinto Lin finds this out the hard way when, as a child, his homeworld is conquered by the powerful Ob Empire, the self-proclaimed kin of the stars, and rulers of vast swaths of the known universe. As a newly appointed member of the Ob's imperial aristocracy, Chinto must learn to forge his own destiny in the wider universe while bearing burdens he never asked for, caught between his surface dweller lander heritage and the Byzantine culture of the Ob, of which he is now nominally a member. A chance meeting with the brave but lonely apprentice star pilot Lafayette aboard the patrol's ship Gosloth will lead them both head first down a path of galaxy-spanning intrigue and warfare that will forever change the fate of all humankind. So now, like I said, this is kind of a notable series for a couple of different reasons. First off, this Crest of the Stars is 3 volumes long, and then there is a sequel series which is called Banner of the Stars, and that one is 6 volumes long. Now, J-Novel Club has already announced that they're going to be releasing this series in 3-volume omnibus editions, hardcover editions, I might want to add. And so those will be coming later on this year. So expect to see this series. It'll be released digitally over the next couple of months, volumes 1, 2, and 3. And then later this year, you will be able to buy the entirety of Crest of the Stars in a single hardcover omnibus volume. Another thing that's really notable about this one is that it is actually a licensed rescue. This series was originally licensed by Tokyopop back in the early 2000s, and like many of Tokyopop's licenses, kind of disappeared into the ether when Tokyopop went pop around 2008. Now, what J-Novel Club has done is not only have they licensed this series, but they are retranslating the entire thing. So this is not like they're taking Tokyopop's previous work and then just kind of re-releasing it. This is 100% from the original Japanese material, relicensed with the Japanese publisher in order to release out to North America. Now, again, this is kind of one of those series that's a little bit on the fringe of whether it's a light novel or not. This series is a little bit older, and it is considered basically a sci-fi series in Japan. So it's not necessarily considered a light novel series. However, back in the 90s, there were anime series based on these novels, both Crest of the Stars and Banner of the Stars. So there is a very close tie to the anime community and the light novel community, much in the same way that the Legend of Galactic Heroes has sort of that same thing where it's pretty much a science fiction series as far as the Japanese are concerned, but obviously has a lot of interest and ties into the sort of wider anime light novel community. So this one, like I said, kind of an interesting series all in all, very much sort of like what J-Novel Club has done with Full Metal Panic in terms of rescuing the series that was a previous license. I believe this one did get entirely released. Like I believe Crest of the Stars, the 3 books were released by Tokyopop, so they did complete this, but I don't think they did Banner. Again, I'm not too sure. I mean, it was a number of years ago, and to be honest, I wasn't into Tokyopop really, so I'm not too sure. But I do know that it sounds like this one, I believe J-Novel Club was saying they kind of got this one because of their dealing with the publisher. I believe it's the same publisher as like J.K. Haru, believe it or not. And I believe it was that connection that eventually got them this series. So again, an older series, but one that I have to say I'm really looking forward to checking out because I remember watching the anime all those years ago and really liking it. So this will be definitely one that I'll be picking up. Next up on June 11th, and this is another one of those situations where this has already been released digitally, but this is it coming out now in print, and that is volume number 1 of Skeleton Knight in Another World. This one being released by 7 Seas. A gamer falls asleep only to wake up in the world of the game he was playing. Ark has the powerful skills and weapons of his character, but there's just one problem. He's stuck looking like that character too. An adventure in a fantastical new land awaits him, if he can get used to being a walking skeleton. So like I said, this one released in digital already. In fact, I believe volume number 2 is either out or coming out very shortly in digital. In fact, it might even be coming out this month. There are currently 9 volumes of this one in Japan, so it is like an ongoing series and does have a good chunk of books behind it already. I will be picking this one up in print to check out and review for all of you at a later time. June 18th is when we're going to get a ton of Yen On's releases. As I said at the beginning of this video, one of them is volume number 10 of ReZero. Now, this series I have really enjoyed. I have unfortunately fallen a little bit behind. I've only gotten to volume 7. Definitely one of the series that I intend to continue reading because I really do enjoy it, and every volume just leaves on a gut-wrenching cliffhanger, it seems. This one, like I said, is notable because it is fully moving beyond the material that was covered by the anime. Now, technically, if you really want to split hairs, volume number 9 did have some non-anime material. They altered the ending, I guess, of volume 9. They only covered up part of volume 9 because, of course, they wanted the anime to have a slightly more satisfying ending. But again, this is the first full volume of the light novel series where none of the content was covered in the anime. So this one a little bit notable for that. So if you've been sort of keeping up and you're kind of wondering like where you should jump in, I always recommend reading it all anyway. But if you've been holding off, pick up volume number 9 because like I said, it does cover the tail end of the anime and has some material that the anime did not include. And then volume number 10 is pure original content from there. This one, of course, getting another season in anime. I don't know if they've officially come out with a release date of that yet. I guess I should have double checked that before I started recording. It will obviously include this volume, so hey, if you read volume 10, you will already be ahead of what the new anime stuff is going to cover. Coming out new from Yen on June 18th, it's going to be volume number 1 of Bungo Stray Dogs. Now, this one is actually a prequel series to the manga and the anime, if you've been following that. Doppo Kunikida is an idealist and a straight-laced detective at the Armed Detective Agency, an organization that takes on dangerous jobs even the police won't handle. Everything in his life is going just as he's planned, until one day he's paired up with the agency's newest hire, a suspicious, eccentric, suicide-obsessed man named Osamu Dazai. Their first case together turns out to be far more complicated than Kunikida anticipated, and it looks like the detective agency's sworn enemy, the Port Mafia, is somehow involved too. So like I said, set 2 years before the events of the manga series, this is the tale of how two seemingly incompatible personalities end up forming the partnership that has made them one of Yokohama's top detective duos. This, I mean, obviously is happening more and more. If you follow the top 10 in Japan videos that I do, yes, I know I need to get on that. I've actually got like 5 to record. The notes are all done, so they'll be coming very soon. In any case, this is happening more and more where we're getting a lot of crossover. So what's happening is you'll have like a series that starts off as a manga, it will then get an anime, and then there will be light novels that come out that are either like side stories or prequel stories, sometimes sequels, or what happens even at other times, and one of these actually is on the top 10 in the following weeks that I'll be talking about. Sometimes what they do is they turn around and they retell the story in light novel format, even though it started off as a manga. And often what ends up happening is they kind of base the light novel more on the anime than they do on the original manga series. So it's kind of interesting, just sort of this cyclical nature that we're seeing. Like, you know, we're typically seeing a light novel, then a manga, then an anime. But now we're going like manga, anime, light novel, then you get feature films and everything else all messed up in there. It is kind of cool though that we're starting to see these more like spin-off type light novels getting picked up. It used to be you wouldn't get these at all because they were just considered sort of a supplementary type thing. I know Viz is going to be releasing some of the series that they have been following, like they released some of the Naruto type light novels. So yeah, we're getting this more and more. So again, kind of an exciting thing for English fans that if a series is really popular, it seems like we're starting to get all the media associated with it, not just either the manga or anime or light novel. Finally, for Yen On, in terms of what's new and notable for them, and this one again coming out June 18th, that's going to be volume number 1 of The hero is overpowered, but overly cautious. This one has 5 volumes currently in Japan. I'm not too sure if it's still ongoing. The last volume released back in November of 2018, and there's no listing for a volume 6 on amazon.co.jp. Now, 6 months is not impossible. Like, it is not like, oh, write it off, it's not continuing, but I'm just not sure. It is a little longer than is typical of the life cycle waiting between volumes of light novels. If any of you have any information on that, I'd love to hear about it in the comments down below. The goddess Lista summons a hero who excels in every area to assist her. He's everything she expected him to be, except for one tiny thing. This anxious hero can't do anything unless he's absolutely sure nothing can go wrong. So obviously, yes, it's an isekai series. It's a bit of a spoof on the whole isekai thing, taking a hero who is ridiculously overpowered, but his anxiousness and his need to have everything just covered and everything else makes him near useless. In fact, Kyle on the Light Novel Podcast was saying he checked out some of the manga of this. He's like, for instance, he would do something like he's being attacked by a level 1 slime, and so he uses like a level 100 magic attack just to make sure that no one gets hurt and the slime is taken care of. So it's that kind of sort of ridiculous comedy type thing that's going on in this series. So I'll be checking it out. I'm not expecting it to be the next Konosuba, but it could be fun. Now, our last sort of new and notable on June 18th is coming from 7 Seas, and again, this is another one of those. It's already out in digital, but now it's coming out in print, and that is volume number 1 of Restaurant to Another World. In Tokyo lies a small restaurant called Western Cuisine Nekoya. Ordinary in every way, save one. Every Saturday, its door connects to another world. Follow along as a cavalcade of curious guests, from half-elves to samurai, dragons, halflings, and vampires enter its premises, all with the same goal in mind, to fill their stomachs with the most mouth-watering of foods. So like I said, this one already, volume 1 came out in digital. This is now the print release for this one. Funny enough, this is one that I definitely know volume 2 is being released in June as well, digitally. There are 5 volumes currently out in Japan. Actually, the 5th volume just came out not too long ago. So it is an ongoing series as far as I am aware. I don't think the 5th volume was the last one. This one also had an anime based on it. I believe so. With this one, it's set up that there isn't really like an overarching story necessarily to it. What it is that it focuses very much on the customers of the restaurant. And yes, some of their stories sort of intertwine a bit, or when they're in the restaurant, they might meet up with a customer that was in a different story and stuff like that. So there's a bit of overlap as the series goes along, but for the most part, the stories, I believe, are somewhat self-contained. So I think, as I understand it, the anime, I think, cherry-picked some stories from the 4 volumes of light novels that were currently available at that time. If you know better, please feel free to fill me in, but as I understand it, that's what I've seen online, is that it seems that there was sort of a picking and choosing of stories in terms of what they were going to adapt for the anime. Finally, for the last thing that's new and notable in the month of June, on June 30th, we are getting a brand new series from Cross Infinite World, and this one is Labyrinth Angel. An Esper heiress and a combat butler. Nothing can stand in the way of this ultimate combo. Satsuki is the envied heiress of the Tsujikawa Corporation. Girls at her high school for the rich and pampered pretend to worship the ground she walks on. Her father's business partners suck up to her, and her parents act like they aren't scared of her. What they don't know is that Satsuki's privy to all the horrible things that they think about her, because she's an Esper. With the power of telepathy and telekinesis at her fingertips, Satsuki is constantly fighting not to lose control and do something unthinkable again. Fortunately, Shindo, her childhood assassin-turned-butler, is the one person who knows her secret and has her back. But when her very own father demands she marries one of 5 potential suitors, Satsuki despairs at the pale emotion their attention elicits compared to the taboo passion she harbors for Shindo. As if that wasn't bad enough, her suitors begin dying mysteriously, just as one of them threatens to expose her darkest secrets to the world. With Shindo at her side, Satsuki must solve the murders, but can she do it without becoming a monster first? So this one, again, is one of Cross Infinite Worlds that you have made a deal, I believe, directly with the author. I know the author published this series for a couple of years on the So You Want to Be a Writer, the Naru website. And I believe then they've hired an illustrator to create illustrations for it. That's typically how Cross Infinite Worlds works. I don't know if that's exactly what they've done in this particular situation. There's only 2 volumes to this series, but if it's like typical Cross Infinite World, each volume will probably be about the length of 2 to 3 typical light novels, because they really go more for a reading experience than necessarily trying to maximize the number of volumes. It's great for readers. I don't know if I would have advised them to do that if I was in charge of their business model, but like I said, for readers, it's fantastic. I mean, it's a pretty good deal. One of the ones that I really liked from them, the Otome Gamer one, yeah, the first volume was easily 2.5 books long in compared to your average light novel. So pretty good deals from them. Again, most of their stuff, it's much more of a shoujo type thing. Obviously, you got the gist of the romance and everything else, but I do like the sound of this one, sort of that whole mixing, like the whole ESP and underworld business, dirty corporate dealings, murders, and stuff like that. Like, it sounds like it would make a really good anime, actually. So that one will be coming out right at the end of June, and that's it for what's new and notable coming out in June. Like I said, a ton of ongoing series getting new volumes. J-Novel Club, of course, already has released, at this point, has already released a bunch of their titles, more physical copies of those at the beginning of the month. We had a whole bunch of stuff coming out new from them, with like How Not to Summon a Demon Lord. If it's for my daughter, I'd even defeat the Demon Lord. In Another World with my smartphone. The magic in this other world is too far behind. Like, yeah, so we've got a bunch of J-Novel stuff coming out in print. And of course, like I said, a ton of ongoing series getting more and more volumes. Like I said, if you want to see the complete list, that'll be in the description down below, or as I said, you can go check it out on my website, justusrstone.com. I'll have it posted there as well. I do have links to Amazon or the book depository. If you want to use those links, please do so. They are affiliate links, full disclosure. So it means that I get a couple of pennies if you buy anything by using those links. And I do appreciate it. It helps me keep buying books and pay for software for editing and so forth. So again, thank you so much if you want to use those links. And you know what? I hope you find something that you enjoy reading this month. In terms of what's new and coming out, what are you most excited for? It doesn't have to be just what I've talked about. It could be anything from that list down below. Let me know in the comments down below. In the meantime, thank you so much for joining me in this video. Let me know what you think about this new format, and I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye-bye for now.